Creepers left to rise, buzz like crazy. Everybody's trying to stimulate it. Spiders in the mirror and things can't be right. Back to the scene of a Friday night, to a blessed collision still frozen tight. Spear drinkers, Cupid and the sound of her first chime. And why did you argue? We're dreaming of those eyes, the best part of my life. And when we make love, babe, don't make a sound, the clock won't turn around. Ooh, you turn around, 2,000 little fires, and no.
Hello my friends, welcome back to another vlog. So, this week's reading vlog, I'm pretty excited about. I honestly, before Vlogmas started, I had all of these different ideas for specific reading vlogs that I wanted to do, but then Vlogmas happened and I just got in the habit of just telling you about my daily life and the books I was reading on a daily basis, and that was so much fun. But I kind of wanted to, now that Vlogmas is over, I wanted to have sort of specific themed vlogs. I don't know if you're even interested in hearing this, but I'm just telling you my thought process anyway. So, the first one we had was the first reads of the year with Birthday Girl and Ice Planet Barbarians. And then this week's reading vlog is going to be trying new to me historical romance authors. I'm so excited about this because that's one of my goals for the year, is to find new historical romance authors that I really love and also to read more diversely. So I also have a diverse author that I'm going to be trying for this reading vlog. So I'm super excited about this. I have just barely started one book, and the first book that I've started is this one, Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. It's a shiny cover, so I can't hold it. Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. I have just started this. I'm only on chapter 2, and let me tell you what this is about. This book is one that I've been wanting to read forever, and I believe Avery from Avery Loves Books really loves this book, and I think maybe Jess has read this and really loved it too. I don't know. I've heard good things about this, and I'm just so excited about it. It sounds so fantastic, and I really am liking it so far. Like I said, I'm super early into it, so I don't really have a full opinion on how it is so far, but the audiobook is good. I am liking it, and this is basically, so this is Evelyn Armstrong. She is the heroine. She's very loved and protected by her clan, and a lot of people call her touched, they think that she's daft, or that's exactly the words that they say to describe her, because she doesn't speak and she just has this really intense gaze. But she's actually deaf, and so that's why she can't, she's not deaf, it says she cannot hear, and that's why she doesn't speak. So she ends up with an arranged marriage to Graham Montgomery, who's a rival clan to her clan, and he has such a deep voice that she can actually hear him. So he ends up finding out her secret. There's some rivalry that goes on with their clans, and that's pretty much all I know about it so far. I'm super excited about this. She's an author that has been on my want to read list for freaking ever, and I just can't wait. Also, I can't talk, I'm sorry. Can we just look at this beautiful cover? I just love it so dang much. So I'm very excited about that one. And then the other books that I really for sure want to read is The Duke Who Didn't by Courtney Milan. And this is, I believe this is, I don't know if it's Own Voices actually, but it is a diverse read because I believe that they are, let's see. I actually don't know the specific race yet, so I'm not going to say in case that I'm wrong, but I do know this is a diverse read, and I believe this is also an indie published historical romance. Courtney Milan has been on my to-read list for freaking ever, and I have recently, this book specifically has recently come on my radar because of Lacey Book Lovers and Jess from Peace Love Books, so very, very excited about this one. I don't exactly know, again, what this is about, other than I believe it's a childhood friend, sweethearts, two lovers, and there's some type of big secret. That's basically all I know. I don't know. It just sounds super good, and I also think that the cover is beautiful, so I don't know. These two authors specifically I am super, super hyped about and very, very excited to read. So now I do have two other novellas that I have my eye on, and I'm not sure which one I'm going to read. I suspect I'm going to say this one, and if it changes, I'll let you know in the future. But the one that I'm really interested in is That Rogue Jack by Maya Rodal. Now, Maya Rodal, I believe, also writes Gilded Age historical romance, so it's set in America in the late 1800s, I believe. And this one just sounds super good. It's also very short, and I believe this one was recommended to me by Bookish Kelly on Instagram. I believe that's who recommended this to me when they did Novella November for Seasonally Booked Up. I think this was one that Kelly wrecked. I think that's where it came from. I don't know. I've got a bunch of novellas on my Kindle because of that, and I just thought this way I could have an audiobook, a physical book, and an ebook, and a short novella. Hopefully have enough to talk about for this vlog. I don't know. I don't ever talk about very many books in my vlogs because I like to have one vlog out a week, and I like them to have themes. I am reading other stuff at the same time, and I'm not sure if I'm going to talk about that in this vlog or not, because I am also reading another historical romance that is a new to me author too, but I'm not sure if I'm going to include that in this or not. We'll see. I don't know. I'm reading a bunch of stuff. So the synopsis for this is really: Jack Lord Willoughby is charming, handsome, and utterly irresponsible. In other words, he's the worst person to entrust with the ducal wedding ring. Miss Henrietta Black is prim, proper, and the ideal person to help find the priceless family heirloom that's gone missing, as long as she isn't distracted by Jack's gorgeous smile and tantalizing attempts at seduction. They must find the ring before the wedding if they aren't too busy falling in love. I think that sounds super cute. A very short read. I'm hoping that that hits the mark for me, because I personally don't necessarily love novellas. I feel like unless it's like a really stellar one, I almost always end up disappointed when I read a novella. They just usually don't hit for me. I want more. So I have high hopes for that. But I also just really want to find out if I sort of vibe with her writing, because I have a couple of her books here in paperback that I also want to read too. So those are the books that I'm planning to read, and I'm excited for this. I'm hoping it's going to go real well. I'm back on my Diet Coke kick. I also have my organic Rooibos tea. It's a 2-drink day. So that's all that's happening now. If there is a historical romance author that you would like me to check out that you think I maybe haven't read yet, let me know down below, because I would love to know that. I'll check in with you guys when I've made some progress on these books to let you know what I think. Just filmed my December wrap-up and took some Bookstagram pictures. I got my cute mug. This is my mug from Literary Enchantments. I think it's adorable. It's one of my favorites. They just opened yesterday. Today's January 5th when I'm filming this. I'm a rep for them. My discount code is down in the description if you want to get a cute mug too. They just got a lot of Bridgerton stuff in, and dark romance designs, historical romance. It's really cool. There's my ring light. My son drew that Baby Yoda for me. Isn't it adorable? And of course, the crunch crunch is from this boy, Puppy. I know. Is it being a good boy? Well, I just wanted to give you an update on a book while I have my lights and everything set up. Do you like this hoodie? It's a crop hoodie. It says Gracefully Furious. It's from the Sarah McLean collection by Jordan. I don't remember. They're on Instagram. Jordan. I don't know how to say it, but I love it. It's so me. I mean, maybe I'm graceful. I don't know. Anyway, wanted to give you an update on Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. I'm really liking this. It's very like gentle, very sweet, very sort of quiet with the family. And I think the thing that I really love the most is, well, not really the most, but at this point, they're just getting married. Evelyn and Graham are just getting married. They're just at the altar, literally. That's where I left off. I am 10 chapters into it, so not super far. But I had some thoughts, like, the thing that I think is so specifically beautiful about this story is this is such a nice change because Evelyn's parents both love and adore her so much. Like, her father was just talking to Graham in a previous chapter and was talking about how, you know, yes, she's different because she can't speak, but she's such a treasure. You're getting such a treasure and you better take care of her. And it was just such a beautiful scene. And I loved so much that there was that emphasis on, like, that her parents loved her and didn't just necessarily see her as a burden. This is a pile of books that I need to get rid of. And that's my book cart. I'm going to try and put that together for a TBR cart in this vlog. We'll see if I actually do it. But it's just, I love that so much. So she's just about to leave. And I've also noticed that, like, so she doesn't speak and she can't hear perfectly because of a horseback riding accident she had, which also, like, she's a heroine who loves horses. So, you know, I'm here for that. This is the horse girl energy I didn't know was in this, and I am loving it. But, like, in specifically this, the characters in this time period, they are often talking about her in a way that makes it sound like they're seeing her inability to hear and to speak, in that they're seeing that as more of a handicap than it actually is. Like, they often talk about her being, like, daft or touched. Like, they're thinking that it's something wrong with her mind, that her mind isn't working because she can't do these things that everybody else can. And I just feel like it really kind of hits me right in the heart to see that this, in today's world, we would hopefully know better that that's what it is and we wouldn't treat her that way, you know what I mean? And I also just, it makes me sad to realize how she's being seen and treated at that time for something that is certainly a disability, but it's not something that affects her ability to think or process or feel things, you know? Like, there was just a scene with her mom and she was talking about how, yes, she is daft or touched or something, whatever they called it, but she can still feel things. And it just, like, it just made me so sad because it made me realize how far we've come as people, as a society, but it also made me really think and wonder, what are things like that people have today where we consider them to be less mentally capable than they are, you know? Like, it's really a thought-provoking look at disability in the time that it is set, and is making me wonder how much of that is happening in today's society. But, so there's really not much romance happening at all, other than Graham thinks she's beautiful, so I'm excited for them to get married and see what happens there, because I have a feeling it's going to be very sweet and very lovely, and I'm excited for that. Now I'm starving. I filmed my video, I filmed my wrap-up video, I went and worked out, and now I'm ready to eat some food. So I'm gonna go do that.
Oh, fear not the cold.
Good morning, my friends. Hello. Let's have a vlog update, shall we? I put ice in a cup and I poured my kombucha in it, but it was pretty, right? Anyways, I just clapped and got water on my face from the condensation in my cup. Okay, let's talk books. So I have a few updates for you about the books that I've been reading. I did start The Duke Who Didn't by Courtney Milan last night. I am in the middle of several books right now, to be honest, and they're all of them are historical romance. I'm trying to get the Julia Quinn books done for our live show this week, so I'm reading those two. And I'm also reading this book, The Gilded Web by Mary. I'm not going to even say her name because I know I always say it wrong, and I'm always like, how do you say her name? And I still always say it wrong. Mary. This Mary. This is the first book of hers that I read, so I decided to include it in this vlog. I was thinking about it when I started this vlog. Oh, by the way, I'm reading this for the Winter of the Wallflower book club. Words are hard today. I'm reading this for the seasonally booked up book club that Dana and Kelly host, and this winter's theme is Winter of the Wallflower, so all of the books that they have picked are books about wallflowers, and I have never read Mary before, and I've really, really wanted to read her. And so I picked this up, and I was planning to include this in this vlog, but honestly, there were quite a lot of... I struggled with this book. It was super slow moving, which it isn't bad, right? I don't think this is a bad book at all, but it was just, I have so many other commitments that I have to read for my own book club that I host, and for videos that I'm making, and I'm also reading I haven't started it yet, I'm reading Night Song because I'm going to be a guest on the Historical Hellions book club. Books with Samantha made me my cute cup, which is my kombucha cup. Anyway. So when I started this, it was honestly so slow for me. It was just, there was a lot of description and there really wasn't a lot of character motivation. And there is a really big theme in this book specifically about how men can use religion as a way to keep women suppressed. And that is something that I really don't enjoy reading about pretty much ever. So I almost DNF'd it, honestly. I was about ready to just DNF it. But I love the discussions that we have in Seasonally Booked Up. And I love my friends in there. And they're some of my bestest friends. And I really love the chat. So I decided to give it one more try. And then my sweet friend Sophie, the reading ear of Hattie, she... Like, I did an Instagram Live yesterday. I was complaining about how I didn't have an audiobook for this book or the Julia Quinn books because they're not available on audio. And so Sophie was like, I'll read it to you. So she sent me some messages where she was reading the parts of this really sweet part where the hero picks up the hairpins that the heroine had dropped and gave them to her. And so I was like, okay, I'll give it one more chance. So I definitely skimmed the first part until we got to today's section. And I literally just became obsessed with it. And I tabbed this whole thing up. And it just, honestly, I feel like right now we're getting to some really, really beautiful lines, some really beautiful character interaction, and it's just a freaking delight. And last night's chapters we read from, I read them last night so we could discuss them today. We read from 11 through 15. It just flew by, and I was just captivated by her writing, and I honestly am now a really big fan of her books. Like, wow. I'm just so blown away. Like, the whole concept of this book is pretty bonkers. So we have Alex, she's the daughter, I don't even exactly know what her social station is, but her father is like a religious man, but he uses that in a way that is really there's a line in here that says that Alex believes that, like, God is a god of vengeance and censure instead of a god of love, and so her father really believes in that too, and so he punishes Alex quite a bit and sort of forces her to live this very stifled, very closed life, and punishes her pretty severely, not necessarily with beating her, but through, like, deprivation, like, locks her in her room. Like, it's honestly pretty heartbreaking to read and hear about the things that her dad put her through, and that was just honestly really hard for me to read, and I didn't want to read about it. So Alex she's just walking one night, and she ends up mistakenly kidnapped by this guy who thought that Alex was his sister, who he was trying to kidnap so that she wouldn't marry this other guy or something. Anyway, it's pretty bonkers. But the guy who rescues Alex is the Earl, I believe, the Earl of Amberley, Edmund. And he rescues her, and because Alex is in this sort of compromised position, he offers her marriage, and she denies, like she says, no, I don't want to marry you. But then when she realizes the implications of what happened because she was kidnapped and compromised, she accepts. So they're still not married, and we're 280 pages into it, and they're still not married, and she's still not really sure. Like, she's accepted that she has to marry him, but she doesn't really want to, and she's sort of having second thoughts about it. And like, the way that she is very, very slowly unraveling as a wallflower and sort of trying to develop her own agency and making choices for herself is just honestly so freaking beautiful. There's a scene in here where she asks Edmund to kiss her for the first time. And it was like, it wasn't like steamy was what we would think of today, but it was just so freaking romantic and beautiful, and I was just having all of the feels because it has, like, this book has such a buttoned down feeling to it for a historical romance. Like, there is literally, it's very quiet and it's very subtle as far as the romantic relationship. It's moving very, very, very slowly. And so when she asked him to kiss her, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I just loved it. Honestly, like, I will tell you, the first 180 pages of this were a slog. Like, I was really struggling with this book. It was very descriptive, it was very slow moving, and it really had that theme with the religion that I don't necessarily love to read about. But now we're at the point where she's starting to just sort of finally break through those, you know, confinements that she's had in her mind her whole life. She's starting to see that there's another way for her to live, which is just so beautiful, and I just love it. And I don't know, there's a scene in here too with, I won't go into detail with that. Anyway, so this book was written in 1989, I believe, and honestly, I am kind of in love with it now. Like, again, I definitely struggled with the first 180 pages, but reading it last night, I was just like, wow, this is a powerful book, and this is a truly gifted writer. Like, I know I have some more of her books. I actually think I've bought some of her new ones, and I can't wait to read them because I am a little bit shook at how much I loved those pages yesterday. I can't wait to read tonight's, honestly. Like, wow, this is super good. So that has been a sudden turn of events that became a highlight. So I am still listening to Never Seduce a Scot. Let me grab that book. Still listening to this, Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. This is definitely still a little bit slower. It's not slow paced at all, but I'm reading it slowly. I'm not sure why. I have recently started putting the speed down on my audiobooks so that I can really just enjoy them more and get more out of it. I feel like I was kind of falling into the trap where everybody else was like at 1.5 to 1.75. 1.75 is pretty much, unless it's a really slow talking narrator, that's about the highest speed I can really enjoy an audiobook. Any higher than that, and I'm really not enjoying it, I'm just trying to get it done, you know? And I don't want to do that anymore. So even if it takes me longer to read it, I would rather have it a slower speed and enjoy it. Anyway, this is still just, like, we're just starting to get, like, they just barely have gotten married, and oh, I am excited about this book too. So those are two amazing historical romances that I am really, really loving. I will have Dana and Kelly. I will have Kelly's Instagram and I will have Dana's YouTube channel linked below if you want to join. Seasonally booked up. Honestly, the discussions are so freaking good. And it is one book a week, so that kind of seems like a lot, especially if you have other reading commitments like myself, but the discussions are just so great, and I have really loved that a lot. So I'll have those links down below if you want to join and read those. They have like a book a week for many weeks, and it's great. So, and then last night, after I finished these chapters in the Gilded Web, I picked up The Duke Who Didn't by Courtney Milan. I just really wanted to get a taste for her writing, and I got 10% in, and I am really caught up in this story. It's so beautiful, and it's so, like, there's this subtlety to it too that is just really lovely, and I love that this is a diverse historical, and I believe Jeremy is Chinese. Gosh, I wasn't going to say that unless I was wrong. I really need to pay more attention. So it has Jeremy and Chloe, and they both have Asian heritage. I believe it's Chinese. I'm so sorry, I will correct myself if I am wrong. But they were childhood friends, And Jeremy is actually going to be a duke, but Chloe doesn't know that. They were childhood friends, and they ended up sort of getting separated, but they would come back and meet on one day a year until one year Jeremy just didn't show up. So he hasn't shown up in this meeting. Now they're adults, they're grown up, and Chloe has just stopped waiting for him. And Chloe is so adorable because she's very much an organized person. Like, she has this list that she makes, like she makes lists all the time. Her dad, she lives with her dad, her mom has passed away. Her dad made this like clipboard for her just for the list that she makes, which is very endearing and very sweet. So she's at the spot where Jeremy used to meet her all the time, and she's waiting for him to show. Well, she's not waiting for him to show up. She's kind of decided he's not going to show up. But he does, and takes her by surprise, and she's kind of a little bit cold towards him because she's mad that he just kind of stopped showing up with her. But he kind of quickly gets her to warm up to him a little bit with the same banter that they have always had, and he lets her know that he has come back to look for a wife, and she's kind of heartbroken, and so she expresses that with being a little bit rude to him, you know? And she's making her list, and he's kind of teasing her about the lists, and he says, well, what if you could... There's some really cute exchange where the idea of making a list for all the qualities that his wife would have comes up. And Jeremy says, well, it would just be a list of you, Chloe. And she doesn't understand that for what it is. It says on the page that he's been in love with her forever, and he's trying to convince her to marry him, but in a way that's like subtle. Anyway, he decides to hire her or to pay her to make this list for him of the perfect bride for him. And it's really just a beautiful, cute story. Again, I'm only 10% into it, but I'm really liking it already. I love that Chloe's dad they're immigrants to England, and Chloe's dad is trying to figure out how to make this sauce, this Asian food sauce. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but that's awesome. That's just a really beautiful scene. It's very like sensory when she talks about how it smells and how it tastes, this sauce. It's just great. I'm excited about that one. So yeah, overall, I feel like I started out this week and I was kind of not necessarily slumpy, but I was just coming off of reading Birthday Girl and Ice Planet Barbarians, which I just freaking loved, and I was having a hard time getting excited about anything else, you know, a little bit of a book hangover. But then last night and yesterday, I feel like I finally got to the point where I'm reading 4 books and I'm loving all of them, and I am super happy about that. So yeah, that is a reading update. This clip is long. I just felt like I had so much to say about these books, and I'm just so excited about them. So I'm going to get to work, and I'll update you when I have read some more. See you in a bit. Hello, my friends. This is a new day. It's a new day. I have a new cup of tea in my historical romance reader mug by Literary Enchantments. They just opened on Monday, and you can, if you like historical romance, you can get this cute cup too. I have the link to their shop down below and my code if you ever want to get something from them. Today's tea is this. I realized I haven't shared many teas with you lately. So I bought this box to try for Vlogmas, but then of course I got it stuck into the daily vlogs with the calendar, the daily tea calendar, which was Dross. This is fantastic. Spoiler alert, I already tasted it because my cup was so full it was going to spill. This is 100% one of my favorite new flavors, pomegranate and raspberry. It's freaking delicious. Like, if you like fruity teas... Must you be so loud, sir? You would love this. It's like so tart and so, like, the raspberry flavor is super, super good. I just love it so much. I'm so happy. I had to go get his food because he is such a picky doggo. He doesn't eat unless I'm in here with him, but then sometimes even when I'm in here with him, he still doesn't eat. I don't know. Anyway, today is January 8th, so I didn't update you at all yesterday. I am, however, wearing the same hoodie from when I talked to you last time because it's just so comfy and cozy and I love it. It's like so soft. Anyway. So let's talk about the books that I've read, shall we? I finished a book. I finished this book. I finished Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. I really, really liked this. This was so sweet and so cute, and it was also like so romantic. Like Graham, oh my gosh, he's one of my favorite heroes now, honestly. Like, I feel like the end, like the last third of this was so good. Like once he realized that he loved her and once they got everything, like once Graham realized that she just can't hear and that's why, you know, like once he realized that was what was wrong with her instead of feeling like she was daft, which is what they say. So I'm assuming he was thinking that she was like not completely mentally there. Like it almost feels like he thought maybe she had the mental awareness of like a child, because there's also a scene in the book where he is having like feelings of attraction for her, like physical attraction, like he's getting all worked up about her and he feels so much guilt because he's like, I shouldn't be feeling like that because she's just an innocent, and not even just that she's innocent, but that she's daft, like she's touched in the head and all this stuff. And like his whole internal battle with struggling with feeling so attracted to her and also struggling with, is that a good thing to do with somebody who's not all there? Like it was very cute. He was a very endearing hero. He loved her so much and it was so sweet. I've kind of struggled, like, I think it's a solid 4-star read for me. I think it's probably almost a 4.5 because I absolutely loved how Graham loved her. I loved how tender and protective he was with her. Like, he was such and he was so, like, he was her defender. Like, there's a scene, like, the finishing scene is she gets taken captive by a rival clan, and he goes to rescue her, and he is so fiercely determined to find her, and to rescue her, and to capture her, and to deal out justice to whoever took her, and it was just so, like, oh, I loved it. I loved that so much. And Evelyn was a really strong, very interesting heroine, too. I really liked her a lot. I think that their romance was pretty slow developing, which makes sense for the story for sure, because my battery's gonna die. I swear, my battery goes from like 3 bars to nothing in 2 seconds flat, so if it cuts out on me, that's why. But he just loved her so much, and he was so tender with her. Like, honestly, the part, once he realized that he loved her, I was just like, that was my favorite part, but that didn't happen until you had a lot of the book to go through to get there. But the way he loved her was just so beautiful and so soft and so sweet, and he is 100% an alpha mellow. Like, he is, oh, he's completely gone for her. And it's so sweet, too, because, like, when he knows that she can't hear him, I'm back. I feel like I'm not quite in the right spot that I was before, but oh well. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so like when he realizes he loves her, he wants to tell her, but he knows that she can't hear him say I love you. And so he tells her anyway, knowing that she can't say it back, you know, and I just loved it. Their love story was very, very good and very sweet. This was actually written in 2012, I think, because when I was reading it, I'm like, this feels a little dated, but it doesn't really, it's not in a bad way. It just definitely feels like, it doesn't feel like a modern historical romance, you know what I mean? Which isn't bad, and I didn't dock any stars at all for that, because I really enjoyed this book. This was a very soft, very quiet, very sweet love story. It was just honestly really, really great. Have a super protective, gone for the heroine hero who is a Scotsman, and that's always fun. And then they also have that, so they have almost like that language barrier where they can't really communicate very well, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite things to read about. I just love that so much. And I am going to read Transcendence. I haven't read that yet. I want to do like I know I've seen several people do like Wild Man reading vlogs, and I want to do that for sure. I know I saw Brie has, I don't know if she did a reading vlog or she had recommendation for Wild Man romances. Brie in Love and Words. Jess did, I think she did a Wild Man reading reading vlog, and I know Jessen just recently did one, which I really loved. So I'm definitely going to do that because I feel like there are a lot of wild man romances that I haven't read yet that I want to. So that's going to be on there for sure. So anyway, to be quite honest, I didn't read much yesterday. You know, January 6th happened, everything that happened at the Capitol went down, and I kind of just was doom scrolling, and I also had a flare up with my chronic illness, which was very bad, and I don't know, man. I just didn't quite feel like talking to the camera, you know what I mean? I just really felt like I just needed a day to just not. Anyway, and I also didn't read much. So I did pick this back up again last night and listen to it when I was editing a video that didn't really require me to listen to it a whole lot, just mostly the pictures and the tags and things like that. So I was listening to this a lot, and then I listened to this while I got my grocery order, and just finished it today and really, really liked it. And now I definitely am wanting to read more from Maya Banks because I enjoyed this a whole lot. It was a very sweet, very wonderful, very just beautiful love story. It was 100% worth it. So I think this is a solid 4-star read for me. I enjoyed this a whole heckin' lot. It was great. So there we have it. How are y'all doing? Are y'all doing good? How's your new year treating you? It's, hi Kaz, you're eating breakfast? He's eating. He's down here eating now. What a good boy. He just looked up at me when I was talking. So then I've also been reading this book, and I haven't really gotten too much far. I haven't really gotten to where I feel like I need to talk to you most about it. Like, honestly, the part that stayed with me most was that middle-ish section. There is a live for this today, so I want to try and catch up and see if I can make it. But we will see, we will see, we will see. Anyway, that's all for this reading update. I'm going to enjoy this delicious tea. I think this would be so good as, like, an iced tea, too. Don't mind me. Come here. I say to people, come here. Oh, thank you. He wants to say hi, my friends. Look at the camera. Look at this camera right here. Oh, thank you. He's getting kind of shaggy. Him's gonna need a haircut soon, huh? You're such a love. Can I have a kiss? No? Rude. I'll check in with y'all later. I know I haven't really put any B-roll in here except for my drinks. But hopefully this is still an entertaining vlog. I don't know. I'm feeling a little insecure about it. I'll check in with y'all later. Okay, I have to show you the cutest shirts I got. These are from Lady Whistledown XO. I'll have her Etsy shop link down below. I'm not a rep for her. I just saw she was making Bridgerton shirts and I needed one. So I asked her if she was going to do a Simon shirt, and I wanted hashtag my Simon, and so she did it, and don't you love it? I love it so much. And then I also got this one because I just needed it, and I love the color. It's so cute. I'm so excited. Hello. I just barely finished the Gilded Web. This is for the seasonally booked up book club. Their live show is starting in 2 minutes, so this is going to be a quick update. I'm really conflicted on how to rate this book because, like, there were parts of it that I really thought were so, like, beautiful. Like, it was such a slow-paced book, and the characters were unlikable at times and then likable at other times, like, and it has such a wide cast of characters. Like, you can tell that this is the setup for the couples in other books to have their story too, but it was also, like, just so beautiful, and at times, at other times, it was just really, really, really slow. So I think I'm probably gonna give it a 3.5. Like, I am definitely impressed with Mary's writing. I think that she did a really excellent job of creating characters and really watching them grow throughout this book. And the love story, like, the romance was very sweet and, like, so slow building, but also very satisfying too at the end. And I really loved especially the theme, had a really strong theme of Alex's agency, and you really got to see her really break free of the box that her father and everyone had put her in and made her sort of be that wallflower. And you get to see her really decide to choose what she's going to do, what she wants to do with her life, and what that is. And there's a point in the book where she's starting to have feelings for Edmund, but not enough to make her want to stay married to him. Like, she would rather have her freedom than be married to him. And it was also, I feel like this was a really interesting look at, we see a lot of these marriages where the heroine has been ruined and so they marry to save her reputation. And this is the first time that I know of where I have read the hero wanting to save the heroine because it hurts his soul to think of what will happen to her because of her ruination. And it's not because he loves her, and it's not because he desires her. It's because it causes him pain to think of how that's going to damage and affect her life. And I also really liked that we got to see Edmund, the hero, fall for her way before she fell for him. It was really just a quietly beautiful book. Like, it has a big saga feel to it, like a big dramatic family saga. And I'm really conflicted. Like, sometimes I felt like it was a 4, sometimes I felt like it was a 5. They were briefer. So I think overall it's probably a 3.5. I think that's probably what I'm going to rate it. And I wanted to share with you a few quotes, just because they were so beautiful. And I don't know if you have read this, if you have read an old school historical romance, or if you even want to, but it definitely has made me intrigued with Mary's writing to read from her again. But when Mary's talking about, or not Mary, when Alex is talking about what she wants and why she doesn't want to marry him, she's saying how he rescued her and proposed marriage. She says, "It was not your problem, it was mine. I have been made into a thing, again, as I have been all my life, a commodity, and rather a nuisance of a commodity to be passed from hand to hand. I don't want to be owned. I don't want to be a thing. I want to be me, to make a life for myself, I would hope. To suffer if necessary, but I want it to be my life and my suffering, my choice." Like, that almost brings me to tears, because I feel like it was such, like, this was written in 1989, and I feel like that's such a revolutionary feminist point of view, to let the heroine have those feelings and to express it to her betrothed who is trying to save her from ruination, and she's saying, no, I don't want any part of it, you know? It just, see, that when I read stuff like that, that's when I'm like, maybe this is a 5-star, but then I think about, it's just such a slow-paced book, so maybe it's a 4-star. I don't know. I'm very conflicted. And so then I'm going to read you this other part if I can find it. Okay, this is when she's still trying to convince Edmund that she doesn't want to marry him. And she's trying to explain why, because he's like, I can't stand to see you suffer. I can't bear to think of what's going to happen to you if we don't get married. And she says, "You constantly watch over me like a spider over a fly, except that yours is a benevolent tyranny. But I am caught in your web, Edmund, your gilded web. I am to be protected at all costs. It will be easier for me if I am the one to break the engagement. I will not be seen as such an abandoned creature. I don't want your protection, Edmund. I have never asked for it. I am smothered by it. I cannot breathe." Like, it seems like those passages, it just seems so ahead of its time and so powerful. And maybe it's a 4? I don't know. I can't decide. Anyway, this was a very interesting book, and I'm really glad that I pushed through and read it. It was very lovely in spots. It was really, honestly, powerful and insightful and beautiful, and I really enjoyed it. But again, sometimes I didn't. Confusion. I don't know. We'll think about it. I'll tell you for sure when I come back with my next update. I'm gonna go watch the live show because I'm late.
Hi, do you like this lipstick?
Hello, my friends. We're back. We're back for the... Hey, don't knock that... Stop. He's licking my ring light. It's set up over there. Because I've got an unboxing. I just got my Hello Lovely Rep box. I'm going to do an unboxing right after I give you my last vlog update. So, final update. This vlog is long. And okay, so I just finished The Duke Who Didn't by Courtney Milan. And I gave it 5 stars. I honestly really, really like this. There was a time where I was thinking maybe it was only going to be a 4-star read because there's a little bit in the middle that can be a little bit slow. I think that has happened with a few books that I've read recently where the middle part is slower, but then it picks back up. And just the way that they got together and their relationship, like their love for each other, was just so sweet and so precious that I had to give it 5 stars. I don't know if I talked about what this book was about already, but the basic gist of this is that Chloe and Jeremy are both they have Chinese heritage. They're in England in a Regency setting. They live in this town called Wedgeford where there are a lot of Chinese immigrants who live there. And they have this trial every year where they hide this big stone thing. I don't really understand exactly what the trials are, but I know that Chloe is working with her dad to get this unnamed sauce, this Asian food sauce that he has been working on and perfecting to try and sell it and make a business of it. And so she's trying to get that ready to sell at the trial. So it sounds like the trials has like a fair aspect to it too. Doggo, can you stop? And so Jeremy he's a duke, but no one knows he's a duke. It's like a secret. He's the duke who didn't because he doesn't really fulfill his dukely duties to this town like people think that he should. As in, like, he's not really an active part of it, but he also doesn't make them pay rent. Anyway, Jeremy is Chloe's friend. They were childhood friends, childhood sweethearts, and every year, once he grew up and went away, he would come back and help at the trial. Every year he would come back until Chloe finally said, okay, you need to get serious with me or you need to leave. So he left and didn't come back for 3 years, so her heart is kind of broken. And then 3 years later, he shows up again for Chloe, and she's a little bit taken aback and a little bit hard and angry with him at first for leaving her for those 3 years. And Chloe is a big list maker. She loves to write lists. She loves organization. She's got a clipboard with lists everywhere she goes. And so Jeremy hires her to make a list of the perfect characteristics that he wants in a wife. And he's trying to convince her that the characteristic he wants in a wife is just everything that Chloe has. So he wants to marry Chloe, but he's very, like, slow and subtle about making that known that he wants to marry her, and she's a little bit hesitant because she's had her heart broken by him before. And so, like, it's a very slow-moving romance. It's very slow, very quiet, but it's also very cute and swoony, and Jeremy is just completely head over heels in love for her, like, just completely. And he does some stupid crap because he's a big dum-dum. But he is also, like, they're both, like, two big, like, dorks, you know? Like, they just are, like, such... They're just so awkward, and they're just, like, Jeremy's always cracking these jokes that aren't really super funny, but, like, it's just so cute, and they're so... Like, there's this real tender aspect of him wanting to court her, and Chloe's dad has a lot of scenes with Jeremy, and there's, you know, like, Chloe's dad is kind of giving him the runaround as he would, and Jeremy is just, like, so awkward around her dad, and it's just so funny and so sweet, and their love story was just honestly really, really sweet and adorable. This was just very heartwarming. It was very hopeful. It was just so beautiful, and I really loved... It was just so different from historical romances that I've read. I loved this whole little town that was just sort of this place where all these Chinese immigrants could go, and it just, so it did, in that sense, it didn't really feel like it held to a lot of the rules that we would think a Regency romance would. Like, Chloe doesn't need a chaperone when she goes places and things like that. So it was just delightful. I highly recommend this. I loved it. Again, it was a little slow moving in the middle, and it was definitely a slow burn. Like, it took a while for them to get together, but it was just so fun and so enjoyable, and I really loved the relationship that Chloe had with her dad. It was very, very sweet. I just thought this was so clever. It was so smartly written. There were so many lines that were just, like, sharp and witty and clever. There was a lot of great banter. It was just so great. I just loved it so much, and he's a virgin hero, and, you know, we love that, and it was just, honestly, it was just a happy book, and I loved it and adored it. 5 stars. Highly recommend that one. So, I just loved it so much. Like, I read it And there was a part of me that's like, I don't really know what to update you guys on and what to talk about, because part of it was kind of slow moving as far as things I could talk about. It was laying a lot of plot and a lot of like family stuff between Chloe and her dad and Jeremy and his family and why he's not really being a duke that anybody knows about. And it was honestly just so sweet. So let's wrap up what we read in this Trying New Historical Romance Authors. I didn't get to Maya Rodell's book, but one day I'm sure I will. So first book I read was Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. This was a ton of fun. This romance was so swoony and so sweet. I loved this hero. He was so protective of the heroine. I just loved this so much. This was so fun. Again, this was another one that was very low angst. That's also what I would say about The Duke Who Didn't. Very low angst. So if you're looking for a romance that doesn't have a lot of angst, I would recommend this one for sure. And The Duke Who Didn't by Courtney Milan. I think those were both just happy, fun, comforting, just really enjoyable reads. They were great. Scotsman in this, sort of a language type of barrier. She has hearing loss, and the only thing she can hear is his growly voice, and very, 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 very good. I loved this one a lot too. Talked about The Duke Who Didn't, gave that 5 out of 5 stars. That's by Courtney Milan. I really am excited to read more of her books now. I loved that one very much. It was fantastic. So, and then I read The Gilded Web by Mary Bellogg, I believe is how you say it. I think Dana was saying that she looked up the pronunciation and then there was some chatter in the group, and I believe it's Bellogg, like Kellogg without the K, use a bay, so B. So I'm hoping that's right. Mary Bellogg. Anyway, this was my first Mary Bellogg book. I was honestly quite impressed with her writing. I think that she really built a slow, quiet, beautiful romance that was very slow. This was definitely bogged down with a lot of description and a lot of unnecessary perspective shifting between the characters, which I didn't necessarily love. Probably the biggest issue I had with this was just how much description there was and how we kept switching viewpoints, and that really was a little hard. Once I got to about halfway, like you can see where I started to tab it, that was about halfway. Maybe not, maybe a little less than halfway. It was about 180 pages in was when I really started to enjoy it. But it took me that long, and I almost DNF'd this. If it hadn't been for my sweet Sophie, I would have DNF'd it. She read me some very swoony parts on a video clip she sent me, and I loved it so much. So this book, I don't know that I would recommend it, honestly. Like, I feel like, in a way I would, because if you watch my earlier clips, if you're this far, there were some beautiful gems in here, some beautifully worded lines that were just very progressively feminist and that were just honestly beautiful. But it was also very, very slow. I don't know. I honestly am invested enough with the side characters in here to continue on, particularly with James, Alex's brother. Anyway, those are the books I read this week. This vlog has been super long. I need to make vlogs that aren't a week in one, because then I just take too long talking to you. Anyway, that is the end of this vlog. Thank you so much for spending time with me and coming on this journey with me to read new historical romance authors to me. I really enjoyed this. I'm so excited. I have 3 new historical romance authors that I can check out more of their backlist from. So thank you so much for watching. If you have read any of these authors, please let me know what your favorite book is so I can check that out next. I will see you in my next video, my friends.